leadership of Coach Scott Clemens, the Saints have displayed remarkable consistency, combining strong serving, disciplined defense, and dynamic front row play. The balanced roster has proven capable of overcoming almost every challenge this season, anchored by veteran leadership and deep bench. Heartland's teamwork and poise under pressure have been defining marks of their success, as they now look to capture the state title and complete an exceptional season. The Crosspointe Christian Panthers have battled their way through a competitive bracket to earn their spot this morning in the final. With an impressive 18-3 record, the Panthers have built a reputation for relentless energy, sharp communication, and explosive offensive play. Led by Coach Mark Geiger, Crosspointe Sports, and also the Panthers have carried over several high-fought wins, including a semifinal victory over Volleyball. Known for their scrappy defense and emotional intensity, the Panthers bring with passion and purpose to the court as they aim for their first IACS championship in several years. The Indiana Association of Christian Schools is committed to the true spirit of competition and upholding the biblical principles of kindness, humility, and respect. We ask that each participant, official, and spectator join us in exhibiting these Christ-like characteristics and help create a positive environment in which to enjoy today's competition. If you'll stand, please, we're going to have a word of prayer. Following prayer, we'll have our national anthem and starting lineups. Let's pray together. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for this day. We thank you, Father, for these young ladies. We thank you for the talents that you've given them. I pray that you would just bless them as they work on the word today, keep them safe. I pray that you would help them to play with purpose, help them play with passion, and help them to play for your glory. I pray, Father, you would just be with the officials and make the calls, give them clarity and wisdom. And I pray, Father, that both on the court and the stands, we would be honored to you in Jesus' name. Amen.
We're good now?
I'll start lineups for the Crosspointe Panthers. Starting with the Panthers, number 1, a senior, Ali Sherwood. A senior, number 4, Ali Diamond. Number 6, a junior, Esther Raza. A sophomore, number 8, Grace Number 10, sophomore, Alina Harvey. And sophomore, number 11, Abby Scott. The winner for the Panthers, number 2, junior, Emma Moore. And our starters for the Saints. Starting for the Saints, number 2, sophomore, Jessica Thompson. Number 6, a senior, Morgan Clemens. A senior, number 7, Mackenzie Clemens. A sophomore, number 15, Brianna Emery. A freshman, number 17, Kerrigan Harper. And senior, number 22, Ali Penn. The player for the Saints is number 3, eighth grader, Riley Emery.
right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for some volleyball. The handshakes are completed. The fans are hyped for their team. And we are ready to play. Starting lineups have been announced. And here we go. Heartland, if you're watching, is on the left of your screen. Crosspointe is on the right of your screen. Heartland is the #1 seed, and Crosspointe is the #2 seed. We're looking forward to a spectacular game today. Both of these teams are well disciplined, make very few mistakes, and have a hunger to win. So thank you for joining us. We're going to enjoy some volleyball. My name is Kim Blue. I am the varsity volleyball coach here at Indiana Christian Academy, and I'll be your host today. Libero #2, Emma Moore, heads in for Autumn DeArmond in the back row. And it looks like #6, junior Esther Percasa, to start with the serve. Let the game begin. Pass to Kerrigan Harper with the tip. And she finds a hole to put Heartland on the board. #22, Allie Penn to serve for Heartland. Pass by Alina Harvey. Set to Abby Stott. Dug out. Tell you got some scrappy defense on both sides. Set to Kerrigan Harper. Offhand. And that is a dig and a kill for Allie Schellenberg. I told you it's going to be a good one. 1-1 as libero Emma Moore, #2 for Crosspointe, steps back to serve. Dug by Morgan Clemens. Set out to #2, Jess Thompson. And point Crosspointe. Expect to see some very good service from both of these teams. Both of them have focused very much on serving. Set to Kerrigan Harper. Tip dug by Alina Harvey. Set out to Grace Yider. Dug and back. Set to back row, #15, Brianna Emery. Esther Percasa went for it. Found the ground, 2-2. Freshman Kerrigan Harper back to serve for Heartland. Set to Grace Yider. Nice hit, dug out, tipped over. Tip by Allie Schellenberg. Set to Morgan Clemens, and that is out. Well, they call a touch. There is a touch. And so Morgan Clemens gets a kill for that. (3-2) Heartland. Set to Grace. And that one didn't quite clear the net. (4-2 Heartland, I'm sorry. And that one sails long. Okay, and Crosspointe calls the timeout. Heartland's up 5-2. And Coach Yider calls a timeout. Crosspointe doesn't exactly look like themselves yet. Need to get settled in. Heartland is no stranger to the championship game. They won the championship 4 years in a row, 2019 through 2022. In 2023 was a wide open year. Many teams could have won. Colonial Christian won that year in 2023. And then last year, Heartland won again. Crosspointe looking to upset that. And with their record, it's quite possible. So let's see what happens now. Timeout's over. Music. Kerrigan. It's a great dig by Esther Percasa. But Ali Schellenberg was back row, so she cannot jump to tip that, or she would get called for a back row violation. But that works for Grace Geider. It's a kill for her, and it ends a run for Crosspointe. Number 9, Alexis Baskerville checks in for Crosspointe, and so does Chloe Sharp, who goes back to serve. Dug by Allie Pinn, set out to Jess Thompson, tipped over. Set to Allie Schellenberg, doesn't quite clear the net. And Heartland goes up 7-3 as Jess Thompson goes back to serve. And Heartland adds another to their score. It's 8-3 as that hit did not quite clear. Smart play by Chloe Sharp to go all the way to the line and make sure. And Alexis Baskerville to the line for Heartland. Or sorry, for Crosspointe. Heartland up 8-4. Kerrigan Harper with the back row attack. Dug cleanly by Emma. That was a great pass. Good follow, another great pass. Set to Autumn DeArmond. Offense always starts with defense. Those are 2 great passes by libero Emma Moore to set up the attackers for Crosspointe. Serve dug by Kerrigan, set up to Morgan Clemens. And the tip found the ground, but Crosspointe was also in the net. So that's a point for Heartland and ends that brief run by Crosspointe. So number 7, Mackenzie Clemens to the line for Heartland. Heartland up 9-5. Short serve, fielded cleanly. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Down the line hit. Another set to Schellenberg, offhand. And it was touched. Great job. Schellenberg stayed in there. Hitters have to make adjustments on set. There's no catching the ball and redoing it in the game. Good work by Ellis Schellenberg to stay in there. 9-6, Autumn DeArmond to the service line for Crosspointe. Dug by Mackenzie Clemens. Set over to 15, Brianna Emery. Set out to Schellenberg again, up and off the block for a kill. That's what we call tooling the block. Heartland's doing their job, they're getting the block up. Sometimes you can't go around the block, but you can get a block touch or go through the block and use the block to your advantage. Set out to Schellenberg again, no surprise there, tip over. And folks, that's why they're number 2. Sometimes it's smarter, not harder. Heartland saw the tip, but just a little late, not in time to do something about it. Up by Mackenzie Clemens, set, Brianna Emery takes the hit. Dug up. Communication error right there for Crosspointe. Somebody's got to take charge and get that ball. Senior Morgan Clemens to serve for Heartland. Heartland up 10-8. Set out to Ellie Schillenberg, who rolls it over down the line. Good up by Morgan Clemens. Set out to Kerrigan Harper. Great hit, great dig. Set a little off the net. Good dig to get it up. Set a little bit off the net. Allie had to backpedal. Sometimes it's hard to get under it and get any downward trajectory. 11-8 Heartland. Great pass. Set to middle, Abby Stock. Free ball from Heartland. Set to Allie Schellenberg. Off hands again. And we have a double substitution for Crosspointe. Grace Yider in for Chloe Sharp and Alina Harvey in for Alexis Baskerville. Allie Schellenberg to the line to serve. She has at least 5 kills. I may have missed some, but I'm keeping a rough estimate here. She has 5 kills already. Set out to Kerrigan Harper. Nice cross-court roll. That was great placement right there by Kerrigan Harper. For Crosspointe, Emma needs to go ahead and come to the line and make sure that's in. It looks wide, but this court is big. 900 square feet. And that serve goes out. That is the second service error for Heartland. And I know Coach Scott Clemens told me he does not like service errors. Number 6, Esther Fracassa to serve for Crosspointe. Set out to number 2, Jess Thompson. Jessa, I'm sorry. And it is 12-11. Heartland is up by 1. It's well played. Off tip. And Alina Harvey with the hit over. Well played. Set back to Alina Harvey. Free ball. Set to Alina Harvey again. And we are tied up. 12-12. Many of you probably know each team gets 3 hits per possession, but the block does not count as one of those hits. So if you get a touch off of a block, you still have 3 hits. Tip coming over. Set out to Grace Yider, and she tips it over again. 9-4. And that puts Crosspointe up 13-12. And we have a timeout, Heartland. Each team has taken a timeout. Crosspointe was down 2-5 when they took their first timeout. They struggled, fought back and forth. They would get a couple points and then it would go back to Heartland. But they've been on a run here. Esther Fracassa is serving well. And Crosspointe has now gone up 13-12. And so Heartland wants to take a timeout and talk about it. So these teams come in with great records. Heartland came in with a 20-1 record to the tournament. But they beat Tabernacle the other night, so that gives them makes them 21-1. And Crosspointe comes into this with a 25-4-3 record, but they beat Colonial the other night, so that makes them 26-4-3. So these teams have played matches this year, fought through a lot of close sets. Don't expect either one of them to quit or give up. And here we go, back to play for Casa serving. And unfortunately that one sails wide for the Crosspointe's first service error. That's exactly what you want if you're Heartland. You call that timeout, hope you can ice the server a little bit. But now Crosspointe's got to put that behind them and play on. Number 22, Allie Penn serving for Heartland. Set to middle, Abby Scott. In there for a tip. Great court vision. Libero number 2, Emma Moore, serving for Crosspointe. Nice low serve. Dug by Kerrigan, tipped over by Jessica Thompson. Tip coming back over. Like I said, these teams are scrappy. Autumn DeArmond, the tip, and Heartland unable to get that back over the net. And Crosspointe extends its lead by 1 more point. 15-13 Crosspointe. Dug by Allie Penn, set out to Kerrigan Harper. Double block going up, and she hits out. Crosspointe, understandably putting up a double block against Kerrigan Harper. Kerrigan trying to hit around the block. She's a skilled hitter, but unable to keep that one in bounds. Dug by Morgan Clemens, out to Kerrigan again. Double block goes up. Dug by Esther, free ball back over. Set's going to Kerrigan again. Tip, handled by the setter. Tip over. Grace Yider. 17-13, Crosspointe in the lead. And Coach Clemens takes the second timeout and wants to talk about this. So Coach Clemens took his timeout when they were down by 1, 12-13. After that timeout, there was a serving error by Crosspointe to give them 13, but they have not scored a point since that service error by Crosspointe. So I'm sure Coach Clemens is saying, hey, we can't rely on them making a mistake to serve a point. Let's take control of this. Let's get back in it, pass that hit. Of course, Kerrigan had the hitting error going out, but she's got to keep hitting. There is no reward without a risk. You got to keep hitting. Sometimes you got to make adjustments, and that's exactly what Coach Yider has been trying to do as well. So he's telling them now, let's not play scared. Let's keep doing what we're doing. Play clean. Get those serves in. Right now, the last thing Crosspointe wants to do is miss their serve. I was talking with both coaches before the game, and Coach Clemens said the greatest momentum in volleyball is service, and I thought that was excellent. Because the last thing you want to do when you're on a roll is go back to the service line and miss your serve. And Crosspointe believes that firmly too, because they are serving at 92% for the team. That is amazing. And Emma gets that serve in, set back row to Brianna Emery again. And nobody was there. All right, so Kerrigan Harper to serve for Heartland. Crosspointe up 17-14. Service run down. Set to Morgan Clemens. And that was in. It's a nice hit. Nice deep hit. 15 points for Heartland. They're down 2. It's loud in here, so Kerrigan was checking with the ref to make sure he had blown the whistle. That's 2 free balls in a row that Crosspointe has sent over. And Heartland is back within 1. That is not what Crosspointe wants to do, send 2 free balls in a row over, which were returned with kills by Heartland. Set to Grace Yider, who has to come in. That set didn't quite make it out there. That's 3 free balls in a row Crosspointe has sent over. And Grace Yider gets that one in. Nice try by Autumn DeArmond. Long tip by Morgan Clemens. Set to Alina Harvey. Off hands, and that does it. And Crosspointe sighs a sigh of relief for sure to get 1 more point up instead of the score being tied. Again, double substitution. Chloe Sharpen to serve and Alexis Baskerville in. Alina and Autumn, no, not Autumn. Alina and Grace take a seat. Set out to Ali Schellenberg. Offhand. And that is Ali's 6th kill, at least. Chloe Sharp continues to serve as Crosspointe is now up 3, 19-16. Looking for an answer here from Heartland. And that's an ace. Chloe Sharp to serve again. Allie Penn, set to Morgan Clemens. Unfortunately, that doesn't quite clear the net. And Crosspointe goes up by 5, 21-16. Heartland is steady. They can't play emotionally or scared, just play steady, get it past. I'm sure not what Coach Clemens winning there, and Allie with the tip, goes back up again, comes back over, and that was out. Hard fought play. Coach Clemens cannot call a timeout. He is out of timeout. He sends his libero in. Chloe Sharp continues to serve. Pass up, set over to Morgan Clemens. Doesn't quite clear the net. 23-16. Crosspointe. Heartland looking a little bit out of sync. Good pass by Morgan Clemens. Set Morgan up. Dug by Emma. Great pass. Set to Autumn DeArmond. Doesn't quite clear the net. All right, number 2, Jessa Thompson. And it was Heartland's turn for a side release there as Jessa Thompson heads back to the service line. Pass by Esther Percasa. Set to Ali Schellenberg. Great job by Emma Moore to be there for that. Good try by Emma. With an excellent save off of that block. Points for Heartland. Still down by 5. Jessica Thompson serving. Short serve. Sent back over. Set to Morgan Clemens. And she finds the floor. (19-23). The 3rd service error for Heartland in this set. Alexis Baskerville to serve. This is the set point. And that's the service error. Their 2nd service error. This is the 2nd set point for Crosspointe. Mackenzie Clemens to serve. I do not expect to see a service error on this one. To Ellie Schellenberg, and offhands again. And Crosspointe takes the first set, 25-20.
Need your help with the alternate team.
Folks, I'll be back with you in just a minute. All right, folks. We are back for the second set. Crosspointe taking that first set, 25-20. Heartland went up for an early lead. Crosspointe fought back, took the lead, went back and forth for a couple possessions, and then Crosspointe pulled away, 25-20. Heartland starts this set with the serve as Allie Penn, number 22, a senior, steps back to the service line. Tip over by Grace Yider. Dug by Alina Harvey, set out to Esther Fracassa. Back row set to Morgan Clemens, goes cross court, and that was in. And Heartland strikes first. One-0 Heartland. That was a nice hit by Stock there. Set out to Grace Yider. Off hands of Morgan Clemens. Nice high set. Grace had plenty of time to get there. Nice cross court. Morgan Clemens tried. And we are 1-1. Esther Fracassa, junior, serving for Crosspointe. And Abby Stock goes up. He's a back over. Unfortunately, that hit didn't clear the net. Kerrigan wanted that one, but didn't quite clear the net. And Esther Fracassa continues to serve. 2-1 Crosspointe. And that one drops in for an ace. Alina Harvey pulls the block. And Crosspointe up 4-1. And she gets hands on that one. Oh, nice try by Ellie Schellenberg. And Kerrigan back to the service line. Crosspointe up 4-2. Oh, and an ace for Kerrigan Harper. You gotta hate those if you're Crosspointe. Another good serve by Kerrigan, set to middle, tipped over. Maybe a shorter tip would have worked. Dug up by Emma Moore, set out to Grace Yider. Dug up, run down by Esther Fracassa. Good try, good hustle. And we are tied 4-4. Again, exciting game. These girls love volleyball. They love competitive volleyball. Oh. Crosspointe wanted to touch, but didn't see one. The rest did not see one. Heartland goes up 5-4. Set outside to Grace Yider. That one doesn't quite clear the net. And Heartland up by 2, 6-4. Let's see how Crosspointe responds here. A timeout called by Mark Yider. So Crosspointe was up 4-1, and we have 6 unanswered points served by Heartland. So volleyball is definitely a game of momentum and swings, and Coach Yider says, okay, we got to stop this. We got to stop their momentum, put them back in. And Heartland says, yeah, we got to stay on a roll. So when they head back out Heartland's got to make this serve. They don't want to come back out of this timeout and miss the serve and hand Crosspointe 3 points. Games like this, communication is key. It is loud in this gym. There's a lot of fan noise. Trying to listen to your coaches, trying to watch the game, whistles from the referees. You've got to keep your focus and you've got to communicate loudly and often with your team. All right, Kerrigan continues to serve. Let's see how Crosspointe responds after this timeout. Great pass by Alina Harvey, set out to Ray Scheider, tips it over, and unfortunately out. You get served by Kerrigan, set to middle. So out of the timeout, we have 2 attack arrows by Crosspointe. They got to put it behind them and play on. Kerrigan, good serve. And way to stay in the play. Heartland almost had that. All right, we have libero switch. Emma Moore back to serve. Abby Stock takes a seat. Autumn DeArmond comes in. Emma Moore to serve. Heartland up 9-5. Good serve by Emma Moore, set to Morgan Clemens. And that's kill for Morgan Clemens. Could tell Emma Moore was a little frustrated with herself on that. We have a substitution for Heartland. Number 11, Madison Muncie, and for number 2, Chelsea Thompson. And Madison steps back to the service line. Fielded by Ellie, and Grace tips it over. Kerrigan fields it, set out to Morgan Clemens, and just missed hit. So Crosspointe gets a point. Chloe Sharp heads in for Grace to serve. Alexis comes in for Alina. And it is 6-10 in favor of Heartland. Nice serve by Chloe Sharp, up. 3 ball sent over. Alexis makes it out there for Allie. Unfortunately hits the antenna. All right, another substitution for Heartland. Number 25, Audrey Ketchum in for number 7, Mackenzie Clemens. Ketchum to serve. Heartland up 11-6. Nice pass by Emma Moore. Tight set. That set was a bit tight. Allie tried, but sometimes when that set is so close to the net, it's going to favor the blockers. We got a timeout. So Crosspointe down 6-12, and Mark Geider says, yeah, I'm going to take my second timeout. We need to talk about this. So that last play, that set was kind of tight. Allie Schellenberg did what she could, but when you're that tight and you've got blockers like Heartland does on the other side of the net, sometimes that advantage is going to go to the blockers because they actually have better positioning than the hitter does. The hitter's trying to adjust on the fly, and blockers are able to get a good read on it. And Allie even tried to hit it off the block after it came back, but she just couldn't quite complete that. Good job by Heartland's blockers. It's a similar situation to set 1 when Heartland called their timeout. Mark Geider called a timeout down 4-7, and then he called a timeout again at 6-12. So Crosspointe's only scored 2 points since that last timeout, and he's saying, "Let's go, let's get with it." Off hands, free ball over. Crosspointe has sent a lot of free balls over the past couple points. And that's what happens. If you keep sending free balls over to Heartland, they're going to hit right back at you. Crosspointe needs to find a way to get back in their rhythm. Audrey Ketchum continuing to serve. And that was in. Okay. So Allie went for line with that for her 8th kill. Smart play again. The set wasn't exactly perfect, and there aren't perfect sets, I know, but she had to come in and get that, so she tried to make it playable. Alexis Baskerville to serve. Heartland up 13-7. That's a nice serve. Free ball coming back over. Again, not what we were wanting to see there for Crosspointe. Not what Coach Ryder was wanting to see. You can see that. Morgan Clemens back to the line to serve. And that's an ace for Morgan Clemens. We're having some communication issues here for Crosspointe, it looks like. So they need to get back on track. Good serve by Morgan Clemens. Nice deep in the middle. Split that seam back there. Again. And another free ball sent over by Crosspointe. Set out to Kerrigan Harper. Nice roll, and nobody able to feel that after she got it up. Nice roll shot by Kerrigan Harper. Crosspointe has no more timeouts left to call. Roll shot sent over. Tip by Brianna Emery. Oh. That and thanks to Chloe Sharp got that up. Another free ball sent over. Tip by Kerrigan. Esther with the set. And Mark Dyder was looking for a touch, but the rest did not see one there. Okay. And Morgan continuing to serve, 17-7. This is where Heartland does not want to commit a serve. They want to keep rolling. Set out to Allie Schellenberg. Played off the block. Kerrigan Harper hits it out. Again, Crosspointe has a sigh of relief here as Autumn DeArmond steps back to serve. Abby Scott comes back in the front row. Nice pass by Mackenzie Clemens, set to Brianna cross court. And that finds the floor. Coach Ryder frustrated right now, and understandably so. When your setter comes from the back row, the setter usually transitions to zone 1 for defense. The thing is, your setter cannot leave too soon. The setter comes up expecting to set the ball. Before you know where the hit's going, you have a problem then, because there's a wide open spot in zone 1. Esther Fracassa won that draft at the net. And we have substitution. Grace Yider coming back in for Chloe Sharp, and Alina Harvey coming in for Alexis Baskerville. Allie Schellenberg with the serve. Set out to Madison Muncie. Dug up by Alina. And a free ball over. Set to Kerrigan Harper. Good recovery off the block. And unable to clear the net. That was a great up by Esther Fracassa to recover that off the block touch. But it still found the floor. And number 22, senior Allie Penn, back to serve for Heartland. Heartland up 19-9 in this set. Fielded by Emma Moore, set to Esther Fracassa. Nice shot. And a free ball coming over from Heartland. Fielded by Emma Moore, set to Abby Stock. Great hit. Nice hustle play by Mackenzie Clemens. And Abby Stock says, I will take that. some great play by Heartland. Had a hard dig, run down at the net by Mackenzie Clemens to get it over and keep it in play. That was a well-fought point. Esther Fracassa continues to serve. Heartland is up 19-10. Back row attack. Valiant effort by Esther Fracassa. Heartland put it down. Morgan Clemens comes back in for libero Riley Emery. And Kerrigan Harper to serve. Heartland up 20-10. Set out to Grace Scheider. And offhand. Nice hit for Madison. Heartland with a 21-10 lead. Nice serve by Kerrigan. And nice set to middle. Finds the floor. Another kill for Abby Stout, who finds the bench. Autumn DeArminen and Emma Moore back to serve for Crosspointe. Good serve. Okay. Nice hit by Grace Scheider, fielded by Brianna Emery. And a nice hit by Morgan Clemens. Well hit. And libero number 3, Riley Emery, comes in for Allie Pinn. Number 11, Madison Muncie to serve with Heartland up 22-11. And that is an ace. Good tip by Autumn DeArmond, set to Morgan Clemens. Rolls it over. That was a nice job by the libero. Nice job by Briley Emery. She came flying out of the back row to recover that. And Morgan was able to put it down on the second time. 24-11, set point for Heartland. Grace Scheider with a hit, run down by Kerrigan Harper, set to Morgan Clemens. Off. And looks like Crosspointe was in the net. All right, so we are tied, 1 set apiece. Crosspointe won the first set 25-20. Heartland won the second set 24-11. So we're at least going to 4 sets here. Someone has to win 3 out of 5. Someone has to win 3 out of 5 sets. It looks like Heartland did a great job of getting Crosspointe out of system. Heartland also, I mean, they just received multiple free balls from Crosspointe that they were able to transition and points for them. So I'm sure Crosspointe is talking about the fact that they had multiple hitting errors and sent multiple free balls over to Heartland that Heartland was able to convert upon. And a bright spot for Heartland that match was libero number 3, Riley Emery. And she just came in out of nowhere sometimes and popped that ball up. Neither team quits on the ball, but they need to be able to play their own game. In set 1, clearly, Crosspointe shined and was able to get Heartland on its heels. Heartland returned the favor for the second set, put Crosspointe on their heels. So let's stay tuned and see what happens in this third set. I'll be back with you momentarily. All right, set 3 is about to begin. And Crosspointe should have the serve. I got some stats for you. So this year, Allie Schellenberg, before the tournament, coming into the tournament, she led the team in kills with 242 kills for Crosspointe, followed by Grace Yider with 195 and Abby Stock with 81. That's some great leadership for hitting. The service aces. Looks like Emma Moore leads the team with 73, followed closely by Chloe Sharp with 28. And Esther Fracassa will start us off with serving here. And she serves middle. So Heartland has to send a free ball over. That's exactly what Crosspointe was looking for. And Abby Stock comes out of the middle for a kill and the first point of the game for Crosspointe. And when you send your server to the line, of course you want an ace. But your second goal would be to get the other team out of system. And unfortunately, that sailed long. By out of system, I mean getting the team out of the position to have 3 hitters hit across the front. So an in-system play would be when the pass is perfectly placed and the setter can set all 3 of her front row hitters. And that was a great hit by Kerrigan Harper. So out of system occurs anytime maybe the setter has to take the first hit, the first contact when it comes over, or the set comes from the back row. Okay, and we're set out to Grace Yider. And it's down for a point. Abby Stock. Stock in the net. Pardon my pun, I'm an English teacher. Okay. Emma Moore to serve, score is 2-2. And that free ball over from Crosspointe. But Heartland just hung in there and made something of that. Set and got out of the way, free ball. Valiant effort. Valiant effort. It goes up 3-2. Morgan Clemens comes in for libero Briley Emery. And Kerrigan Harper back to the service line. Tip over by Grace Yider, back row attack by Brianna Emery, fielded by Fracassa. Great digging, nice deep tip, move back, set to Morgan Clemens. Good dig by Emma Moore, set over to Alina Harvey. Block recovered, free ball. And unfortunately that went outside the antenna. Heartland up by 2, 4-2. Kerrigan continuing to serve. Pass set to Grace Yider. And that goes out. And set 3. Coach Yider calls a timeout. Crosspointe down 5-2. I didn't have any stats available for Heartland, or I would read those as well. But as I was continuing with some of Crosspointe stats, I made the pun about Abby stalking the net, but she has 92 blocks on the season. And not just because she's tall, but because she reads the ball well and is able to get out where the attacker is attacking and read the block and be able to help her team defensively that way. Digging, libero, Emma Moore has 242 digs. So when you wear that libero jersey, that's really your job. You're a defensive specialist. But also Esther Fracassa is a defensive specialist, and she follows Emma with 204 digs herself. You can't attack if you don't dig. Offense always starts with defense. All right, we're back in from the timeout. Kerrigan Harper continuing to serve. Let's see how Crosspointe responds. Okay, free ball. Set to Madison Muncie. Nice dig by Fracassa. Set out to Alina Harvey. So out of the timeout, Crosspointe scores. Chloe Sharp in for Grace Geider and Alexis Baskerville in for Alina Harvey. The score is 5-3 in favor of Heartland. Fielded by Kerrigan Harper. Tight set, punched over by Madison Muncie. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Right off. All right, and that was not touched by the defender. It hit the net. Point Heartland, 6-3. And libero. Briley Emery comes in for 22. Allie Penn as number 11. Madison Muncie goes back to serve. Heartland up 6-3. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Set to Ellie Schellenberg again. Tries the tip. Doesn't quite clear the net. 7-3. Favor of Heartland. Madison Muncie continuing to serve. Set cross. Ellie Schellenberg. Tip. Free ball over, fielded by Fracassa. Set out to Schellenberg. Off the block, recovered. Morgan Clemens tips it over. And out of play. Heartland up 8-3. Dug by Emma Moore, set cross court to Allie Schellenberg. Nothing, 4-4. I have recorded 9 kills for Allie Schellenberg so far. Statisticians may have more from doing multiple things, but she is leading the way for Crosspointe. And that was a tip, and found the 4. Okay. That was from Morgan Clemens. And number 25, Audrey Ketchum in to serve for Heartland. And that is a kill for Allie Schellenberg. Abby Stock returns, Autumn DeArmond to serve, and number 7, Mackenzie Clemens back in for Heartland. So several player substitutions there for both teams. Pass set to Brianna Emery, and there's a pass, another block by Abby Stock. 9-6, favor of Heartland. Set to Morgan. Offhand. Crosspointe unable to recover that one. Heartland goes up 10-6 as Morgan Clemens steps to the service line. Dug by Chloe Sharp. Nice bump set by Abby Stock. That. And that one finds the ground. All right, and substitution again. Grace Geider in for Chloe Sharp and Alina Harvey in for Alexis Baskerville. Libero, Riley Emery also back in the back row for Morgan Clemens for Heartland. 10-7, still in favor of Heartland. Ellie Schellenberg serving for Crosspointe. Set out to Kerrigan Harper. That one doesn't clear the net. And Crosspointe back within 2. Free ball sent over to set out to Grace Geider. Tip over, played, roll, dug by Alina Harvey, set to Esther Fracassa. That was a great play, ended well for Heartland. Dug by Alina Harvey. Ceiling could have been played, but they just didn't see what had happened there. 12-8, favor of Heartland. That's one of those mistakes you hate to see as a coach. Dug by Lena. Okay, set to Grace Geider. Tipped over. Set to Kerrigan Harper. Blocked. Recovered by Mackenzie Clemens. Set to Esther Fracassa. Off hands, and that is out of bounds. Results in a Crosspointe point. We have a substitution for Heartland. Number 2, Jessa Thompson is in for number 11, Madison Muncie. And number 6, Esther Fracassa serving for Crosspointe. Set to number 2, Jessa Thompson, rolled over, fielded by Fracassa. Set out to a nice tip. Score is 12-10. Fracassa continuing to serve. Free ball sent over by Kerrigan Harper. Mark Eider frustrated with that. I think that ball might have been out. And Heartland up 13-10. Crosspointe was in the net on that play. Number 22, Allie Payne continuing to serve. Heartland up 14-10. And that goes long. You see, Scott didn't like that one. Scott Clemens, their coach. He does not like service errors. Emma Moore to serve. Nice short serve. Dropped it right over the net. Ace. Fielded by Morgan Clemens, back row set to Brianna Emery, chased down by Fracassa. And unfortunately, didn't clear the net. Kerrigan Harper to the service line, Heartland up 15-12. Fielded by Ellie Schellenberg, set to Grace Scheider, who tips it over. Set to Morgan Clemens, dug by Emma, set out to Alina Harvey. Cross court, set to back row Brianna Emery, and that one doesn't clear the net. Once again, Crosspointe within 2. And Chloe Sharp in, and Alexis Baskerville back in. Chloe Sharp heads to the service line. Crosspointe down 2, 15-13. Set to 2, Jessa Thompson, fielded by Esther. Set to Ali Schellenberg, comes in. Tip. Tip again. Ali Schellenberg with the swing. Again, they get hands on it. Set to Schellenberg again. Dug out, set to Jessa Thompson, free ball over. Tip, and it doesn't clear the net. So Crosspointe within 1 again. Heartland up 15-14. Speaking of Ali Schellenberg, she also leads the team in assists. She has 264 assists. And now we have an ace for Chloe Sharp, and we are tied up 15-15. Alexis Baskerville, sophomore for Crosspointe, also has 234 assists for this season. Tip fielded by Percasa. DeArmond with the tip, set to Morgan Clemens, offhand. Good hustle. Nice hit by Morgan Clemens for a kill. I have 8 kills for Morgan Clemens as Madison Muncie steps to the service line. Heartland up 16-15. Set to Ali Schellenberg. Back row to Kerrigan Harper. Man, that was a good swing. Just hit the net. We're tied up 16-16. And Mark Clemens calls a timeout. Another important part of the game is serve receive, which both of these teams do very well. I just don't have the stats to read for you for Heartland, but Emma Moore, libero, she has received the ball 373 times this season on serve receive. Right. So receptions per set being 5. So that is a lot of serve receive. And Esther Percasa behind her with 182 receives. So you can see that they base a lot of their first contacts off of Esther and Emma. So they are very reliable defenders, reliable passers that make a big difference for Crosspointe. Hitters often get the glory, and rightly so. I mean, the hitting is an exciting part of the game, but there's no hitting without the passing from the defense. Alexis Baskerville to serve. We are tied up at 16-16. Morgan Clemens with the hit. Emma fields it off hands. Set to Ali Schellenberg, pretty tight. Coming over from Kerrigan Harper. Passed by Emma Moore. Set to Autumn DeArmond, fielded by Madison Muncie. Set out to Brianna Emery. Set to Ali Schellenberg, comes in. And that is the goal. So once again, we've seen Crosspointe come from behind to take the lead in the set. Set to Brianna Emery, and that one finds the floor. Nice hit. And we have another substitution. Audrey Ketchaman for McKenzie to serve. Score tied, 17-17. Senior Ali Schellenberg read the defense well on that. Well-placed tip to put Crosspointe back up 18-17. As Mackenzie Clemens comes back in the back row for Heartland. Autumn DeArmond to serve. A rollover. And unfortunately, that one finds the floor. Much to the chagrin of Coach Yider. We are tied up 18-18 as Morgan Clemens heads to the service line. Allie Schellenberg rolls it over, fielded by Mackenzie Clemens, set to Kerrigan Harper. Nice. Now those plays get you excited. That was a nice hit by Kerrigan Harper. Emma Moore caught those hands up, made it settable. Allie finishes. Speaking of Allie, she heads to the service line for Crosspointe. Alexis and Chloe head to the bench, and Grace and Alina come back in. Run down by libero, free ball sent over. Set out to Grace Geider. Another great play by Crosspointe. All right, and Coach Scott Clemens calls timeout number 2. He wants to talk about things. Okay. You can see, I don't even have to be commentating for you to see that both of these teams are all in. They're going after every ball. That was a great save on the second ball over here by libero Riley Emery. She went after that ball to bring it back in and make it playable, but Crosspointe was still able to terminate on that point. Anything is possible with these two teams. I could be wrong on this because I heard on a podcast that usually the team that gets to 20 first in a set usually wins 90% of the time. We'll see if that's true, because with these two teams, anything is possible. If you're Crosspointe right now, the last thing you want to do is miss your serve. So let's see how Allie Schellenberg does here. Okay. Oh no. Unfortunately, a close one. I'm sorry if I jinxed her. That was not my intention. All right, and Brianna Emery with the serve here for Heartland. Short tip. Kerrigan with the roll, fielded by Emma. Set to Grace Geider with the tip. Set to Madison Muncie with the roll. And that one finds the floor, and we are tied up 20. Set to Abby Stock to the back corner. Fielded by Emma. Tipped by Grace, off set to Kerrigan, who tipped. Fielded by Esther Percasa. Set out to Grace Geider. And that results in a point. And Crosspointe goes up 21-20. So this is still anybody's set. It's going to be close. She went ahead and played it. Alexis to serve. Crosspointe up 22-20 in this set. Deep serve. Crosspointe up 23-20. Coach Clemens has no more timeouts. He cannot call a timeout. Esther drops it in there, set to Madison Muncie. Fielded by Esther Percasa. Set to Alina Harvey. Finds hands, and it's out. Well fought. Well fought. Crosspointe up 24-20. They need one more point to seal this set. Pass by Morgan Clemens, tipped over, set to Alina Harvey, off hands, fielded by Morgan Clemens, Set to Kerrigan Harper, rolled over. Dug by Emma. Okay, set to Grace Yider. We got a point here for sure. Madison Muncie and Heartland scores. It's an exciting point. Served by senior Allie Penn. Set to Grace Yider, fielded by Brianna Emery. Hit by Madison Muncie. And Crosspointe wins set 4, 25-21. What a set of volleyball. What a set of volleyball. Folks, I'll be right back with you in a few moments. And we are back for set 4. If Crosspointe wins this set, the match is over and they are the state champs. If Heartland wins this set, we play on to the 5th set. First service up and in by Allie Penn, received by Alina Harvey, set to Alexis Baskerville. I'm sorry, to Esther Percasa and rolled over. Free ball, deep free ball sent over. Set to Kerrigan Harper, tipped over. Fielded by Grace Yider. Nice high set to give her time to get back. Tip, free ball. And tip over, and that is in. And Crosspointe on the board first. Esther Percasa back to serve. Short serve. Set over to Kerrigan Harper. Line to 4. 1-1. Each of these teams has seniors. For Heartland, number 6 and 7, Morgan Clemens and Mackenzie Clemens, they are cousins. They're both seniors. And number 22, Allie Penn, is a senior for Heartland as well. All right. And Crosspointe walks away with that point. We have a libero switch. Emma Moore back to serve. Abby Stott takes the seat. Autumn DeArmond comes in. Set to Morgan Clemens. And that was a touch. That touch gives her the kill. And tied 2-2. We have a substitution, number 11, Madison Muncie, coming in for number 2, Jessica Thompson for Heartland. Set to Grace Yider, dug by Kerrigan. Harper set to Morgan Clemens. That one goes off for a kill. And 10 kills now for Morgan Clemens. She's leading the team. Could tell Emma Moore was not happy with herself on that one. Good effort. Defenders will not get every ball. It's not possible. Madison Muncie continuing to serve. Nice serve. And tip over by Mackenzie Clemens. Causes some miscommunication by Crosspointe, and Heartland goes up 4-2. Tip over, fielded by Schellenberg. Set, free ball sent over. Crosspointe. Set to Brianna. And timeout by Coach Yider. 2-5 seems to be the theme for Coach Yider. He has called a timeout in 3 different sets where the score was 2-5 with Heartland in the lead. Speaking of Crosspointe, they have multiple seniors this year, and I want to give a shout out to the seniors. I know Allie Schellenberg is planning to attend PCC. She hopes to major in nursing, eventually to end on the medical mission field. She actually began setting as an 8th grader. She's been a starting setter, and she's also developed into a hitter. As I mentioned before, she leads the team in kills and assists this year. And Coach Yider says her most important quality is leadership. She's the voice of reason on the court and has led for several years in positive communications during matches. All right, we'll pick back up here later as Madison Muncie continues to serve after this timeout. Set out to Grace Yider, tip over. Mackenzie brings it right back over. Set to Alina Harvey. Tries to tip, and it doesn't quite clear the net. Heartland up, 6-2. Madison Muncie continuing to serve. Tipped over, fielded by Kerrigan Harper, set to Morgan Clemens. Dug by Emma, set out to Alina Harvey. And it looks like they've made a switch. Alina Harvey is on the outside, Grace Yider is on the right side, at least for this rotation. Heartland up 7-2. Madison Muncie continuing to serve. And that's an ace. All right, and Coach Yider go ahead and takes his second timeout. Heartland is up 8-2. Chloe Sharp is another senior for Crosspointe. She's also planning on attending PCC. Hasn't decided on her major yet, but she's been a vital part of their varsity program for 3 years. has become a key defensive specialist and has a great ability to serve aces as well. She reads hits well and adjusts on the fly. That's always a spectacular attribute of a defender. Autumn DeArmond is planning on attending PCC, also unsure what she wants to do, but it's the first year Autumn has played middle, and coach says although she's relatively short, she's very athletic, and that compensates for her height. So if he had to give a most improved award this year, it would go to Autumn. And one of the reasons they're peaking at the end of the season is because of Autumn. She's become a fantastic server, consistent and hard. All right, we'll talk about their other seniors later. Madison Muncie continues to serve. Heartland up 8-2. Fielded by Emma. Set is tight. Nice try by Alina Harvey, but that was a perfect set for Heartland. All right, so Heartland goes up 9-2. Madison Muncie continuing her service run. And Grace Geider tries to tip. Hits the net, doesn't clear. Heartland up 10-2. Okay. Tip over. Set to Brianna Emery. Dug by Esther Picasa. Sent over by Ellie Schellenberg. Set to Morgan Clemens, and that's off hands. Kill for Morgan Clemens. Nice hit. (11-2) Heartland. Heartland's doing a great job of keeping Crosspointe scattered. Another hit set to Brianna. Cross court set out to Grace Geider. Dug by Kerrigan Harper, set to Morgan. Heartland moving very well. They come up to cover the block. And Alina Harvey finds the ground. Crosspointe glad to break that service run. Chloe Sharp heads in for Grace Geider and Alexis in for Alina. With Heartland leading 11-3. Set to Brianna, a little tight, but still able to execute. And Heartland's lead climbs 12-3. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Off hands, recovered by Madison Muncie. Morgan. Nice try, 13-3. Mackenzie Clemens with the serve, short serve fielded by Emma Moore, tipped over by Alexis, and tip. Off hands, finds the floor. Another kill for Morgan Clemens. And Mackenzie to serve again. Autumn DeArmond blocked, but recovered. And Allie tried to tip it over, but unfortunately it goes out of bounds. Mackenzie continuing her service run, set out to Ellie Schellenberg, and she finds the ground on that one. Off hands for a kill. That's 15 for Ellie Schellenberg. Alexis Baskerville to serve. Set to Brianna Emery, and that goes long. Nice pass by Mackenzie Clemens. Set, dig. Get that to Ellie Schellenberg. Tip, tight set. Read well by Ellie Schellenberg. Set back to Ellie Schellenberg. Off block, tip. Brianna with the roll. Esther with the set out to Ellie Schellenberg. That was a nice point. Nice play all around. Nice play all around. Both teams anticipate well, see what's happening. They know where to be as the play unravels. Serve, nice pass by Madison Muncie, set to Brianna Emery. That one doesn't clear the net. And Coach Clemens calls the timeout. So Coach Clemens sees something he wants to talk about, even though his team right now has quite a lead, 15-7. Still wants to keep them on track. Coach Eider continuing to take advantage of this timeout because he doesn't have any more available to call. Coach Eider did mention to me that he has 3 other seniors that largely don't play, but he still wants to share something about them. He said collectively, one of the keys to their success this season has been the acceptance of the roles by those 3 seniors. They've never complained about playing time, and in fact, they're the greatest cheerleaders on the bench. He's never had more respect for a group of girls than Hannah, Lydia, and Kira. Hannah Stock, she is also attending PCC, unsure of her mate, but she's been the backbone of their bench. She leads cheers, ends every timeout for their team. He's the most selfless player. She is the most selfless player he's ever coached. Hit by Brianna Emery, dug by Chloe Sharp, set out to Ellie Schellenberg, off hands, facing back over a tip, set to Autumn DeArmond, tip over, fielded by Brianna Emery. Roll by Brianna. And Ellie Schellenberg with a hit, dug by Clemens, and Morgan Clemens with the tip. Emma Morrison's free ball over. Set to Morgan Clemens, and that is out. That was a long volley. And this time Heartland's winning a touch, but the referees did not see one. Referees did not see a touch. And Crosspointe gets that long hot point. I honestly didn't see it either, but I wasn't necessarily looking for a touch. Set to Autumn DeArmond, fielded by Mackenzie Clemens. Set to Morgan Clemens. Set up to Schellenberg and fielded by Muncie. Over to Brianna Carmichael, tipped over. Good try, but Heartland walks away with that. 16-8, score in favor of Heartland as Morgan Clemens walks back to the line. That was a great job by Heartland to keep that play up. Good cover by Emma. And tip will play on. Esther with a great save out of the net. That was tight pass. Set to Kerrigan, offhand. Set to Brianna. Dug up by Alexis. Chloe with the tip. Coach Eider not happy with that sequence. Tip by Kerrigan Harper. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Nice try. Nice try. Good play. Well fought. So many times Heartland just stuck with the play. Got it back over. Morgan Clemens still serving. Set to Ellie Schellenberg, off hands and out. Okay. They did get the block touch, but it landed out of bounds. So libero switch, Autumn DeArmond back to serve for Crosspointe. Heartland up 17-9. Good pass by Brianna Emery, set up to Kerrigan Harper, and that was just long. It was a great hit, just a little longer than the court. Set to Kerrigan again. Not out that time. 18-10 in favor of Heartland. Point, Crosspointe. Ali Schellenberg back to serve. Short serve. Libero has to come flying out for that one. She does. And Grace. It did hit the antenna, so it should have been Crosspointe point, but it ended up working out. Grace Geiger stayed with that play. 18-12, Heartland still in the lead. Crosspointe out of timeout. Ali Schellenberg to serve. Tip, fielded by the libero. Esther Percosa with the tip, another tip. Autumn brings it back in. Good job by Grace. That was a good reach, good field by Mackenzie Clemens. Kerrigan with the tip. It's the setter out. Esther Percosa with the set. Abby Stock with the tip. And set to Kerrigan. And that one finds the floor. Morgan Clemens back in for Briley Emery, the libero. She's done her libero jersey well today. That is a service error for Heartland. Very uncharacteristic. Crosspointe will take it. It is very loud in this building. My smartwatch just gave me a loud environment warning. The sound level hit 95 decibels. And Crosspointe is back within 5. Let's see if they can keep their streak going. And you see Heartland encouraging themselves. Yeah, there were 4 touches there. Short serves are working. That's another ace for Percosa. And Scott Clemens takes his second timeout. They are up 19-15. Both of these teams are very fundamental. Matter of fact, Coach Clemens told me that's one of the things he tries to focus on is the fundamentals. So the passing is more important. Passing and serving are the most important things to him, even more so than the hitting. We'll see how he adjusts here to serve receive after this timeout. Panther fans are keeping it lively in here. Okay, timeout's over. Both teams are out of timeouts for this set. And Esther Percosa to serve, that deep to Allie Penn. Set is tight. I wasn't sure what happened there. Alina Harvey was in the net. Number 10, Percosa. So 20-15, Heartland in the lead. Set to Abby Stock. That was a great hit. That's her 6th kill of the day. That was deep middle. multiple players. You saw Allie Penn looking at her coach saying, what do I need to do? Do I need to step back? Set to Morgan Clemens again. Again, they're wanting a touch. They're wanting a touch, but these refs are not seeing a touch. Tip over. And if I were Coach Ryder, I'd be frustrated with that play. You got to be ready for everything. No surprises. Standing flat-footed a little bit there. And especially with a team like Heartland, you can't count anything out. Tip over by Autumn DeArmond, set to Brianna, and that tip was on the line. Finds the line. Heartland up 22-17. It was a smart play. Sometimes it's smarter, not harder. Number 11, Madison Muncie to the service line. Pass by Esther Fracassa, set out to Grace Geider. Zero set to Morgan Clemens, and that is also out. Heartland up by 4, 22-18, as Chloe Sharp comes in to serve for Grace Geider. And Alexis Baskerville comes in for Alina Harvey. Chloe down line with that serve. And that leads to an 8. Again, you see a lot of coachability by both of these teams. Girls look at their coaches, nod their heads, and get to work. Good pass by Kerrigan, set to Brianna. Nice hit, dug up by Emma Moore. Esther Fracassa calls it. Gotta let those mistakes go. Unusual mistake for Allie Schellenberg, but it's always the next play. You can't focus on what's behind you. Served by Mackenzie Clemens, fielded by Esther. Out to Allie Schellenberg, offhand. Set again to Schellenberg, and again, and she finds the floor. Again, both teams out of timeout. Alexis Baskerville to the line. Crosspointe down 20-23. Nice serve, fielded by Madison Muncie, set out to Brianna. Cross court, fielded by libero Emma Moore. Set up, and Allie Schellenberg tips, fields her own tip, and takes a roll shot. Mackenzie passes, set out to Morgan, has to tip over. Set to Allie Schellenberg again, offhand. Again, tipped, but recovered, and free ball. Set is to Allie Schellenberg, rolled over. Set to Brianna Emery, fielded by Esther Fracassa. Set to Esther. Run down by Kerrigan Harper. That was a nice read by Kerrigan. And then set out to 4. Allie has to come in and roll it over. It's a long point. Tip by Morgan Clemens. Set out to Autumn DeArmond. Tip. It came over on Crosspointe side. It was so tight to the net. It's tough for Schellenberg to handle. This is set point, serving Morgan Clemens. Set to Schellenberg, tip. Brianna was there waiting for it. Tip. Set to Autumn DeArmond. That one's down. Schellenberg. Over. And Kerrigan Harper hits it long. This is the second set point for Heartland. Isn't this what a state championship is supposed to be about? All right. So Crosspointe took the first set 25-20. Heartland took the second set 24-11. Crosspointe took the third set 25-21. And Heartland took the fourth set 25-23. So anything can happen here, folks. Anything can happen. Let me finish talking about Crosspointe seniors. So there are several seniors who don't play very much. We were talking about Hannah Stock, but Coach Eider has great praise for her, says she's very selfless. Her sister is a sophomore and plays regularly. She's the senior and the greatest supporter of her younger sister. No animosity, no jealousy. She's just content in her role. Lydia, she's also attending PCC. I definitely see a pattern here. Lydia is a consistent defensive specialist whenever she gets minutes. Coach Eider often has her come in to serve, and she always comes through for the team. Her steady demeanor helps the girls get through their rough moments on the court. And Kira, he says, guess where she's going to college? Yep, PCC. So unfortunately, Kira had an injury after the first match of the season and did not play until the first game of the tournament on Tuesday. Again, that never caused any negative vibes from her. She's a caring and loving person. But Coach Eider, about his team in general, has this to say. We have 25 wins this season, the most in school history. I can for sure say it's the best team I've coached. We might have had a better hitter in the past, but never a better team. What separates this group in my mind is our back row defense. Between Esther, Emma, and Chloe, not much hits the ground. So one of the things that they focused on this season has been moving forward on controlling the controllables. The glaring one is serving. So as of Thursday, their team percentage was 92.8, so 93%. The national serving percentage for high school teams is 80%. So this is going to be a key factor in the match. And unless I missed anything, Crosspointe has only 3 service errors total today. Coach Eider says clearly Heartland is a great team and well coached and have a low margin for errors. So the girls are confident and excited for the challenge of competing in the state championship match. So I appreciate Coach Eider taking some time out to talk to me and give me some information about his seniors. And I know Coach Clemens said that both Morgan and Mackenzie Clemens, they plan to attend college. And that I think Allie Penn, she is wanting to go. I wasn't sure about what her future plans were, but I think several of these girls are doing dual credit classes at Heartland. So taking classes for college credit and high school credit. So there's some busy young ladies out on this floor, some well-rounded young ladies who participate in a lot of things, and they stay busy with their time. You know, as Christians, we want to see our students using their gifts for God's glory. And personally, I'm a big proponent of team sports. Even things like choir, whatever it is, being part of something that is bigger than yourself. It teaches you self-discipline, self-control, teaches you to put others before yourself, teaches you to work through adversity. So kudos to all these girls, both teams. They've worked hard to get to where they are this season. And it comes down to this one last set. Folks, this set goes to 15. It is win by 2, but it's the first to 15 or win it by 2. So we just had another coin toss to see who serves first in this set. Looks like Heartland won that coin toss, and Allie Penn will be serving. All right, and here we go. Played out of the Raptors, return. Set to Autumn DeArmond. Offhand set to Brianna Emery. And Heartland gets the first point. Hats off to both of these teams. They just don't quit. Up by Esther Percasa. Block, return, Tip over, fielded by Schellenberg. Set to Autumn DeArmond. Roll to the back. Back row set to Kerrigan Harper. Fielded by Emma. Tipped over by Schellenberg. Set to Brianna Emery. Tipped over again. Fielded by Schellenberg. Set out to Grace Geider. Tip. Recovered. Swing by Brianna. Dug up by Emma Moore. Free ball over. Tip. Okay. And that's a double hit. Double hit on Madison. Now the double hit rule has changed. I mentioned this the other night, but you can double hit if the ball stays on your side. The setter can double hit and as long as her attacker touches it before it goes over the net. If you double hit and that hit goes over the net, the referees will call. So again, Chloe Sharp in to serve. And that ball goes out. No touch. Crosspointe up 2-1. Fielded by Kerrigan Harper. Back row set to Kerrigan. Doesn't clear the net. You can tell she wasn't happy about that, but she says, let's go. Okay? Anytime those happen, you got to put those mistakes behind you and move on. And that's an 8 for Chloe Sharp. All right, and Coach Clemens puts libero Briley Emery in for Kerrigan. Another good serve, brought back in by Madison Muncie. Free ball, dug by Chloe. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg. Tip, comes back over, or block comes back over. Schellenberg goes back up to tip. Set to Autumn DeArmond. Dug by Emery. Ellie Schellenberg is there. And Crosspointe goes up 5-1. And Heartland takes a timeout. And it looks like Brianna Emery is hurt. And Mackenzie Clemens looks like she may be frustrated. Looks like Heartland's number 15, Brianna Emery, hurt her shoulder, and they called the trainer over. This is the high-stakes set because this is it. This one's for all the marbles. 15 points comes a lot faster than 25 points. So Scott Clemens wants to regroup and get his girls back together. All right, he gives Kerrigan a little breather. She comes back in. All right, and number 7, Mackenzie Clemens comes out. And number 4, Allie Neal goes in, a freshman for Heartland. And that's another ace for Chloe Sharp. And Crosspointe's up 6-1. Nothing you can do about that one if you're Heartland. That's just rough. Brianna Emery fields that one. Set back to Brianna Emery. Offhand. Esther Percotta gets to it. Chloe Sharp, but he doesn't quite clear the net. You can tell she was frustrated with that, but Coach Ryder says, it's okay. Let's play. Let's play. And number 15, Brianna Emery back to serve. Crosspointe up 6-2. Esther fields that set to Allie Schellenberg. Dug by Brianna Emery, set to Morgan Clemens, offhand. Allie gets it up, tip over. Autumn DeArmond hits the net. And up 6-3. Serve, tight pass. Crosspointe gets it over. Put over to Ali Schellenberg. And Heartland climbs back within 2. All right, now Coach Ryder calls a timeout. Again, volleyball is a game of momentum and swings. We saw Crosspointe swing up 6-1. And now Heartland has come back and scored 3 unanswered. And Crosspointe fans in full form today, cheering on their Panthers. All right, we'll see what happens. Like I said, this set to 15. Every point always matters, but these points seriously mean a lot more when you're only going to 15. Set to Schellenberg. And that pancake was good by Heartland. Clears. Crosspointe looked a little surprised. That was full-out effort by Ali Penn. Nicely done. Brianna Emery continuing to serve. And it's good. Pass by Emma Moore. Set to Ali Schellenberg. Fielded by Kerrigan Harper, set out to Morgan Clemens. Fielded by Fracassa, set out to Schellenberg. Rolls it over. Again, Kerrigan to Ali. This time Madison Muncie with the hit. Set to Schellenberg again, off hands. Okay, and Morgan, okay, again, fielded by, the block was fielded Schellenberg frustrated with herself. Gotta let it go. Gotta let it go. It's the next play. 6-6. Set to Schellenberg and tip. Oh, and it is out. Heartland goes up 7-6. Brianna Emery continuing to serve. Set to Autumn DeArmond tip. I think everybody on Heartland's team was expecting that ball to go to Schellenberg. And it went to DeArmond, and she tipped that down. 7-7. Alexis Basketball to serve for Crosspointe. Coach Clemens checking on his timeout. Each coach still has 1 timeout left. Fielded by Kerrigan Harper, might have been out, but tipped by Morgan. Time going to Schellenberg. And tip coming over. Block, recovered. Set to Schellenberg again. Tip. Free ball. Muncie to serve. Pass by Emma Moore, set out to Schellenberg. Off hand. Madison Muncie field to Ali Penn, brings it back. Free ball. To Autumn DeArmond. And that is out. Heartland up by 1, 9-8. Serve in. the ball came out of play or off to the sideline on the third hit. Kerrigan Harper came in and it got really close. I'm still not sure. I don't think it hit the top, but it ended up dropping in on Crosspointe side for a point. Rough. Exciting if you're Heartland, and rough if you're Crosspointe, because it's just hard to tell. Crosspointe fans are wondering what in the world happened. From here, it did not look like it hit the top of the curtain. But I think everybody was kind of wondering what happened there. Madison Muncie continuing to serve. Heartland up 10-8. Crosspointe out of timeout. Schellenberg dug up by Madison Muncie. Kerrigan with the tip. The Shark was after it. Free ball over. Kerrigan with the hit, and that's out. That was out. There was no touch on that block. Kerrigan even said, "My bad." All right, we have libero switch. Heartland up 10-9, Autumn DeArmond to serve. It's a good serve, nice. It was well dug by Brianna Emery. Set out to Schellenberg, rolls it over. And Morgan Clemens sends it over. Set to Abby Stock, dug by Brianna Emery. Set out to Kerrigan Harper, tip over. Schellenberg, set up to Esther. And it's down the line. I would not want to be that line judge, but she did a great job. All right, 10-10. We're back at the beginning. Serve fielded well by Brianna Emery, set to Kerrigan Harper. Offhand dug up by Ellen Schellenberg, set to Morgan. Well fought. And Allie Neal serving. All right, Heartland up 12-10. Up by 2, 12-10. Remember, it is the first to 15 wins this set. Good dig. Set out to Ellie Schellenberg, offhand. Set out to Morgan Clemens. Blocked, tipped over by Allie Penn. Set to Abby Stock. Tipped it in there. That was a nice hit by Morgan Clemens because the set was pretty tight. They recovered it. And Allie Stock was able to tip that in short and put it down. All right, and Mackenzie Clemens comes back in for Heartland. Heartland up 12-11, Allie Schellenberg to serve. She sends it down the line, set to Kerrigan Harper. It's 12-12. Short serve, set to Morgan Clemens. That is in. 13-12. Heartland. Morgan Clemens to serve. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a game. Battling it out. Pass by Alina Harvey, set to Grace Geider, tipped over. Dug by Alina, Esther with it. And puts it down. 14-12. Kerrigan with the tip. Kerrigan with the hit. Allie Stock set to Kerrigan Harper with the tip. Emerson's a free ball over. Set to set to Brianna. Blocked but recovered. Free ball. Tip. It was tight. Go. And that does it. 15-12. Heartland is the 2025 Indiana Association of Christian Schools state champion. What a match. What a match, ladies and gentlemen. Morgan Clemens had at least 14 kills. She may have had more, but that's what I had down. She led her team well today. Valiant effort by Crosspointe. They fought very hard. Fought very hard. So our sets for today, set one, Crosspointe won 25-20, then Heartland 24-11, Crosspointe 25-21, set 4, 25-23, and set 5, Heartland won 15-12. Congratulations to all the players that worked hard to get where they were. Congratulations to the seniors who have ended their season. I just want to thank you, those of you who joined us online to watch the live stream. And now I'm going to go ahead and sign off, say goodbye, but we'll keep the live stream running so that you can see the awards ceremony. So congratulations to both teams. Thank you for joining us. Have a good day.
First of all, recognize our runners-up here for the Indiana Association of Christian Schools State Tournament, and that is this year the Crosspointe Christian Panthers. And the first place winner of the IACS Division I Volleyball Championship, the Heartland Christian Saints. And this time I'd like to recognize our state champions individually here. When we call your name, you guys can get your pictures taken. You can come over and get your medallion. We will not have enough medallions for everyone on the team, so that's all we have to do. All right, for the Saints, number 2, Justin Thompson. Number 3, Riley Emery. 4, Allie Neal. 5, Lauren Donahue. 6, Morgan Clemens. 7, Mackenzie Clemens. 8, Ian Graham. 9, Robert Baker. 13, Taylor Miller. 15, Brianna Emery. 17, Karen Harper. 20, Shayla Anderson. 22, Allie Penn. 23, Emily Krause. 25, Audrey Ketchum. And then coaches, we have Travis Thompson, Dusty Neal, and Zach Clemens. Congratulations, ladies, on a great season and a state championship. Great job. At this time, I'd like to recognize our all-tournament team for this year. And as I call your name, if you'll come on out and stay out here, we'll start with the second team all-tournaments. And then after the second team, we'll call the first team out. So, from Colonial, number 33, Kate Minton. From Tabernacle, number 8, Liz Sutherland. From Colonial, number 11, Stella Grove. From Heartland, number 15, Brianna Emery. From Crosspointe, number 9, Alexis Baskerville. From Crosspointe, number 2, Emma Moore. This is your second team all-tournament Division I volleyball. Let's give these ladies a hand. Good job. And now let's recognize the first team all-tournament. From Tabernacle, number 12, Lacey Sutherland. From Crosspointe, number 6, Esther Picasa. From Heartland, number 7, Mackenzie Clemens. From Crosspointe, number 1, Allie Schellenberg. From Heartland, number 6, Morgan Clemens. And from Heartland, number 17, Karen Harper. This is your first team Division I all-tournament team. Let's give them a hand. Good job.